There's been a lot of noise around the Philadelphia Eagles lately, and not all of it has been positive. But here's the thing. When you actually dive into the tape, when you break down what's happening on the field, you start to see a very different story than what the headlines and social media chatter would have you believe. Yes, through the first 2 games of the season, the Eagles' offense has looked flat. It's been predictable. It's lacked that big play spark fans got used to seeing. And if you're watching only the box scores or highlights, it's easy to think this offense has regressed or that Jalen Hurts isn't performing up to expectations. But when you really look at the film, it tells a story of a team that is just inches away from exploding. And I don't use that word lightly. Now, before we dive into the XS and OS, let's acknowledge something. This is a team that's built on discipline and long-term planning. There's a reason the Eagles, under Nick Sirianni, have consistently been in the playoff conversation. There's a reason they've remained one of the toughest teams to beat in the NFL over the past few years. And a huge part of that success comes down to their commitment to one core philosophy: protect the football. When the turnover battle, it's not flashy, and it won't get you trending on Twitter, but it's what wins games. In fact, since Sirianni took over in 2021, the Eagles are 36-2 when they win the turnover margin. That's not just good, that's elite. That's dominance. But here's the challenge. That same philosophy, that same emphasis on ball security and cautious play calling can sometimes make the offense look, well, boring, vanilla. And that's exactly what we've seen through the early part of this season. It's not that the Eagles don't have weapons. On paper, this is one of the most talented offenses in football. You've got Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert when healthy. It's a loaded unit. But the lack of aggressive play calling and the conservative approach to avoid turnovers has made it feel like we're only scratching the surface of what this group can be. But if you watched the game against the Chiefs, and not just watched but studied it, you saw signs. Big ones. This offense is on the verge. Let me walk you through just one play that could have changed the entire narrative around this team. First play of the game, the ball is just past the 30-yard line. A.J. Brown goes in motion. Saquon Barkley is lined up in the backfield. Jalen Hurts takes the snap, and his first read, his only read, is A.J. Brown, who's now lined up in the slot. But here's the problem. The blocking completely falls apart. Grant Calcaterra gets blown up instantly. Kylan Grandson misses his block. Hurts has no time. The pocket collapses, and he fumbles the football. But, and this is huge, if the protection had held for just a split second longer, A.J. Brown was wide open. I mean, gone. There was nothing but green grass in front of him. That's a 70-yard touchdown waiting to happen on the first play of the game. Imagine how different the tone of this season would be if that play connects. One breakdown in protection completely derailed what could have been a momentum-shifting start to the game. And A.J. Brown's reaction said it all. Arms out, frustrated, knowing he had just missed a huge opportunity. In a game watched by more than 33 million people, the most watched Week 2 broadcast in Fox's history, that single play could have rewritten the story of the Eagles' offense overnight. And it wasn't just that play. Later in the same game, another perfect chance presented itself. This time, it's Devonta Smith lined up in the slot. Jalen Hurts is in the shotgun. Chiefs are showing pressure again. They brought the heat all game long, blitzing on over 60% of Hurts' dropbacks. That kind of pressure forces you to change your approach. You can't run long developing plays. You can't wait for deep routes to open up. So, this play is designed to be quick. Hurts gets rid of the ball fast, and Smith catches it in stride. And once again, he's one-on-one in space, and there's nothing but open field in front of him. He tries to make a cut inside, just needs to break one tackle. But a shoestring grab brings him down. If he stays up, that's another 50-yard touchdown. Gone. Just like that. 2 plays, both brilliantly designed. Both could have and should have resulted in long scores. But they didn't. And because they didn't, we're still having this conversation about whether the Eagles' offense is good enough. But here's the truth. It is. And the signs are all there. These missed opportunities weren't about bad play calling or poor quarterback play. They were about execution. One missed block, one broken tackle, That's how thin the margin is between looking average and looking elite in the NFL. And that brings me back to Jalen Hurts. Because even with all the pressure, even with all the blitzes and the chaos around him, he's still playing smart, efficient football. He's taking what the defense gives him. He's not forcing throws. He's protecting the football. That's winning quarterback play, not fantasy football quarterbacking, not stat-padding garbage time numbers. Real, gritty, win-you-the-game quarterbacking. But there's another layer here we have to talk about. The scheme. There's been a lot of noise about offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo and the conservative play calling we've seen. Some fans already want him out. Same thing happened last year with Brian Johnson. Before that, it was Shane Steichen. But here's the constant. Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. The coordinators keep changing, but the identity stays the same. And that identity is all about protecting the ball, dominating the trenches, and grinding teams down over 60 minutes. It's not sexy, but it's effective. Like a boa constrictor, they wrap themselves around opponents, slowly tightening, and by the fourth quarter, it's over. You're out of gas, and they're still rolling. Now, that being said, Patullo recently made some interesting comments that shed light on how the Eagles are viewing this early part of the season. He basically said, this is part of the process. You want to build toward the end of the year. You want to peak at the right time. And going through these struggles now, figuring out what's working, what's not, that's what allows you to adjust and evolve as the season goes on. And you know what? That makes a lot of sense. We've seen teams like the Dolphins explode early in the year, look unbeatable in September, then fizzle out when it matters most. The Eagles? They've consistently gotten stronger as the season goes on. In 2021, in 2022, even last season, when they weren't playing their best ball until midway through the schedule, they were still stacking wins. That's not by accident, and it's not like the Eagles don't want to push the ball downfield. Patullo said it himself. They've got the plan in place. They're not avoiding deep shots. But when you're getting blitzed on nearly 2/3 of your dropbacks, you can't call slow developing plays. That's coaching malpractice. That's how you get your quarterback killed. So they've had to adjust. Quick passes, short routes, stay ahead of the chains. Is it conservative? Sure, but it's smart. And when the opportunity is there, like that zero blitz the Chiefs brought on the deep shot to Devonta Smith, they'll take it. They just need the timing to click, the protection to hold, the execution to be sharp. What's frustrating is that the average fan doesn't see this. They just see 100 yards passing and think Hurts isn't playing well. They miss the context. They miss the why behind the numbers. And that's why this breakdown matters. Because once you really understand what's happening on the field, you realize this Eagles offense isn't broken. It's evolving. It's adjusting. It's biding its time. Another layer to this entire offensive conversation is what's happening in the intermediate passing game. Or better said, what's not happening. According to data from Pro Football Focus, Jalen Hurts is the only quarterback in the league, aside from Mason Rudolph, who's barely even played, who hasn't attempted a single pass between 10 and 19 yards this season. Let that sink in. No intermediate attempts. That's the dead zone of the field right now for the Eagles. And that's not just unusual, it's problematic. You can't ignore an entire section of the field and expect to be consistently effective on offense. It makes your play calling predictable. It makes your offense easier to defend. And while Hurts is still doing a great job managing the game, protecting the football, and making smart decisions under pressure, there's no denying that this missing middle is starting to show. Now, part of this falls on the coaching staff. Scheme matters. You can't tell me there isn't a way to scheme someone open in that range, especially when you have route runners like Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown who can win anywhere on the field. Even Saquon Barkley, who hasn't been heavily used in the passing game yet, has the ability to create mismatches in that 10 to 15-yard range. The problem is the design just hasn't emphasized it. Whether it's a product of blitz protection, timing issues, or overly conservative philosophy, it's something that's going to need to evolve if this offense wants to reach its ceiling. And look, it's not like Jalen Hurts isn't capable of making those throws. While he may not have the same touch or ball-layering ability as someone like Aaron Rodgers or Brock Purdy, he's proven he can hit timing routes and intermediate slants and digs when the system gives him those opportunities. The issue isn't ability, it's opportunity. Right now, The scheme is either going deep or staying underneath. And that binary approach is shrinking the field. Defenses know they don't have to worry about the middle. That's got to change. One major reason why it hasn't changed yet is the type of pressure Hurts has been facing. Against Kansas City, the blitz rate was over 64% of his dropbacks. That's not just high, it's historic. That was the most blitz-heavy game plan Steve Spagnuolo has ever called since becoming the Chiefs' defensive coordinator in 2019. When you're facing the kind of constant heat, you simply don't have time to wait for intermediate routes to develop. You got to get the ball out fast, keep it simple, and hope your playmakers can do something with it after the catch. And to Hurts' credit, he's been doing just that. His average time to throw in that game was just over 2 seconds. That's lightning quick. That's surgical decision-making. And yet, because the highlight plays aren't there, he still gets criticized. But this goes back to what kind of football you want to play. Do you want flashy, Madden-style football that gets you 40 points one week and then completely falls apart the next? Or do you want calculated, high IQ football that's sustainable across a 17-game season and into January? The Eagles know what they're building. They know the kind of team they are. And even though it might not always be the most entertaining brand of football, it's the kind that wins. That's why they've been so good late in seasons. That's why they've been so consistent over the past few years. And that's why this current offensive lull should be taken with some perspective. We've seen this story before. In 2023, the offense didn't really get rolling until midway through the season. In 2022, same thing. It wasn't until around week 7 or 8 that the full power of the offense came to life. These slow starts are becoming a trend, yes, but not necessarily a bad one. If the team continues to win, continues to protect the football, and continues to evolve their identity, they're going to be right where they want to become playoff time. Because let's be honest, no one remembers who started the hottest. They remember who finished the strongest. And speaking of finishing strong, we also need to talk about Hurts' performance against the Dallas Cowboys. In that game, things looked a little different. The Cowboys didn't go with a QB spy. They didn't contain Hurts properly, and he absolutely made them pay. He used his legs, carved them up in key moments, and controlled the tempo of the game. That's what elite quarterbacks do. They adapt to what the defense gives them. They don't force it. They play smart. And Hurts is doing exactly that. In an era where everyone is obsessed with stats, fantasy points, and social media highlights, it's easy to forget that sometimes the best quarterbacking doesn't show up in the box score. It shows up in the win column. This isn't to say the offense is perfect. Far from it. There's still a lot of work to be done. The deep passing game needs to become more consistent. The intermediate routes need to be part of the equation again. And the play calling, especially on early downs, needs to get more creative. But the building blocks are there. The protection is improving. The weapons are elite. And Jalen Hurts, through all the pressure and noise, is still playing winning football. So while some fans may be panicking, looking at point totals and yardage, and wondering what's wrong, the film tells a different story. It tells a story of an offense that is one clean block away, one missed tackle away, one small adjustment away from putting up 35 points and blowing the doors off a defense. And when that moment comes, and it will come, it's going to remind everyone exactly why this team is still one of the most dangerous in the league. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers around the NFL world have been growing louder this week, and all eyes are turning to Philadelphia. The buzz? Christian DARRISAW, the standout offensive tackle, could be the latest big-name acquisition for the Eagles. While nothing has been officially confirmed, sources close to the team suggest that talks are heating up, and fans might be on the verge of witnessing a major shakeup on the Eagles' offensive line. DARRISAW, known for his combination of size, agility, and relentless drive in protecting the quarterback, has been a target for several teams looking to bolster their front line. Analysts have long praised his ability to dominate in both pass protection and run blocking, making him a highly coveted asset in a league where elite offensive tackles are a rare commodity. The prospect of him joining Philadelphia has already sparked speculation about the team's offensive strategy for the upcoming season. Could this be the missing piece to finally solidify a line capable of giving the Eagles' signal callers more time and confidence? Rumors suggest that negotiations have been discreet but intense, with sources hinting at a deal that could shake the NFC East. Social media has exploded with fan reactions, ranging from sheer excitement to cautious optimism. Some insiders believe that DARRISAW's presence could not only elevate the team's protection schemes, but also provide mentorship for younger linemen eager to learn from a proven professional. It's the kind of signing that could send a message across the league. The Eagles are serious, and they are willing to invest in top talent to maintain their competitive edge. Of course, until the front office makes an official announcement, this remains firmly in the realm of speculation. But the sheer volume of chatter, combined with DARRISAW's reputation, has made this a story impossible to ignore. Could Philadelphia be on the verge of one of the offseason's most talked-about moves? For now, fans can only wait and wonder, while the rumor mill spins ever faster around the potential arrival of Christian DARRISAW in Eagles green. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.